You know that feeling when you're staring at your phone, just scrolling through all these notifications, and you just feel empty? It's like this weird silence in a room that should be full of noise. I mean, we're supposed to be more connected than ever, right? But it feels like something really important is getting lost along the way. So let's unpack that feeling. Let's try and figure out what's really going on behind the screen.
So this all kind of crystallized for me with a simple story. Just last week, a message pops up on my phone. It's from an old college friend. And you know the kind I'm talking about, right? The person used to share everything with. But this message, it was just different. It was totally empty. No words, no emojis, not even a hey.
Well, it turns out it wasn't a message at all. It was just a photo of his wedding invitation. Yeah, a picture announcing one of the biggest moments of his life. And I stared at it. I was waiting for a follow-up text, something personal, anything. But nothing. Just pixels on a screen where a real human conversation should have been.
And that's the question that just hangs there, isn't it? I bet it's a feeling a lot of you have had. How do these friendships, these really solid connections just drift apart so quietly and end up in this digital void? This isn't really about one wedding invitation. It's way bigger. It's about a massive shift in how we're all connecting with each other.
So, let's dig into that. What was it about that forwarded invitation that felt so hollow? Well, it really comes down to this massive contrast between how things used to be and how they are now.
You gotta understand, this wasn't just some casual acquaintance. This was the real deal. This was a friendship built on, everything. Late night talks about our dreams, getting each other through heartbreaks and failures, celebrating every little win. When you have that kind of history, that kind of depth, getting a simple forwarded image just feels, jarring is the perfect word for it.
And here's the thing, this little personal story, it's actually a perfect snapshot of this giant paradox we're all living through right now. We are literally surrounded by technology that promises us more connection than ever before, but the reality, it can feel completely the opposite.
And look, this isn't just a vibe or a feeling. There is hard data to back this up. A study found that if you spend more than 2 hours a day on social media, you are twice as likely to feel socially isolated. Just let that sink in for a second. The very tools that were designed to bring us together are actually statistically making us feel more alone.
And what's crazy is this trend is only getting worse. A huge study by Cigna found that over 60%, more than half, of adults now say they feel lonely. And that number has just been climbing and climbing. We have a million ways to reach out, a million apps, and yet more of us feel completely and utterly alone.
So what's the deal? What's the core issue here? I think it's this. Our relationships have become transactional. Technology has kind of flattened everything. It's turned real, meaningful connection into just a series of little transactions. You get a like for a big life update, an emoji for a deep, emotional confession, or, a forwarded image for a wedding.
But why? Why does this happen? I mean, why do we keep choosing the easy way out, even when we know deep down that it just doesn't feel as good? Well, the answer is pretty fascinating, and it has everything to do with how our brains are wired to deal with all this.
Okay, so there's actually a psychological term for this whole phenomenon. It's called emotional displacement, and it's a little bit scary when you think about it. Basically, it means we're doing the digital action of connecting, and our brain is getting tricked into thinking that's the same as the real feeling of connection.
Here's basically how it works. It's like a little trick our brain plays on us. You send that quick congrats text or drop a like on a post, your brain immediately gives you a tiny little hit of dopamine. That's that feel-good chemical, because you completed a social task. So for a second, you feel like, okay, I did my part, social duty fulfilled, you've checked the box. But that little gesture, it has none of the depth, none of the real effort that actually builds and maintains a relationship.
And this brings us to a really simple but super powerful truth. At the end of the day, there is a direct, unbreakable link between the effort we put into our connections and the emotional value we get back from them.
Think about it like this. You've got two columns, right? In one column, you have convenience. That's the forwarded message, the like, the quick emoji. It's fast, it's easy, it's efficient. But in the other column, you have connection. That's the phone call, the handwritten note, actually showing up for someone. One is all about efficiency, the other is all about meaning.
And that's the real kicker, isn't it? Real connection, it's vulnerable. It actually takes courage to pick up the phone and risk, an awkward silence. It takes guts to be truly present with someone without a screen to hide behind. Convenience, well, that's often just our way of avoiding all that scary, vulnerable stuff.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time diagnosing the problem here. But the good news is, the solution isn't some huge, complicated thing. You don't have to delete all your apps or go live in a cabin in the woods. Nope. It just takes a really small, shift in how we think about it.
So after that whole wedding invitation thing, I decided to try something different. Instead of just stewing in that feeling of disconnect, I picked up my phone and I actually called another old friend. No birthday, no big news, no special reason at all. Just a random, hey, how are you? Phone call.
And the payoff for that one little act of effort, that 25-minute phone call, it was amazing. Genuine surprise on their end, real laughter as we remembered old stories, and an actual, concrete plan to meet up soon. That one conversation did more for that friendship than 100 forwarded messages ever could. It's proof positive. It's all about quality, not quantity.
So as we start to wrap this up, I think it's really important to be clear about one thing. Technology isn't the bad guy here. Not at all. The ability it gives us to stay in touch with people across the globe is absolutely incredible. The problem isn't with our tools.
The problem is that we're running out of touch, that real human touch. The intentionality, the effort, the courage it takes to actually go beyond the screen and connect with someone, human to human.
And I think that's the ultimate takeaway here. Technology, our phones, our apps, they are absolutely brilliant at connecting devices. But connecting human hearts? Well, that's still on us. That takes our time, our vulnerability, and our effort. So the question I want to leave you with is a simple one. Who are you going to really connect with today?